You are listening to episode 37 of the BBL show. If you're wondering where 36 is, it's a live show on the BBL YouTube, so go check it out. I am Jay Marriott. He is Drew Lasker. Another one. 11 trophies now in the cabinet. How do you feel?
I feel amazing, man. It's a great feeling. Firstly, shout out to the Future in Plymouth for powering this episode. We're here live on set right now. We have a little fan club right behind us that you guys can't see. And also, this is my first time out in public in a year and a half. So today is a great day.
Go and enjoy it, man. Enjoy it. That's for sure. Let's talk a little bit about the live show, obviously on Friday. Another shout out, Peter Pizzeria. Absolutely fantastic to do that. Drew, do you want to talk a little bit about the behind the scenes pains that we had in trying to put this show together? It wasn't as planned.
Well, I mean, shout out to our video producer, Johnny Wong, who made it look magnificent. And we tell you now, it wasn't as smooth as he made it look. But, this has been in the planning for a couple of weeks now. But shout out to you, Jay, because you spoke this into existence from episode 1. This was your vision. This was your dream. But obviously, we've been in lockdown all this time, and we weren't able to make it happen. But the timing worked out perfectly to where we can get this done before the season ended. And so we go on planning this episode, this live episode, and obviously, I was supposed to be a part of it. But, Leicester kind of let the window open over game 1. And I told Jay, I said, hey, we need to probably look for plan B, which he never considered, by the way. This is my guy. He never had confidence in us. But yeah, shout out to Gino for being a great sport to be able to take my place, because that's a true professional. It hadn't even been 24 hours. And for him to host a show after a disappointing loss, it's tough.
Yeah, huge by the general. That was amazing. And Mac also let me know right after the game not to bet against you guys. So maybe I've learned my lesson a time or two. But obviously, not having Drew was disappointing. We managed to get him at the end of the show. But I think the whole premise of that was just to show what we are capable of doing. Yes. So we tried to put as many segments in there and put some fun and put some flair in there, as well as also talking about the finals and that weekend. And it was just fantastic. And Drew's absolutely right. Johnny was amazing. He pretty much worked the night through to make sure that it could load up on the Saturday. I think I fell asleep about 1:30 with him messaging me. Woke up at about 7, and he was still messaging me like crazy to get certain things to him. And he never stopped working until he knew it was all loaded up. So thanks to him. Also, Pete Simmons, 5 or 6, like massive shout out to him. He really helped us pull together the guests, make sure that they were all organized, made sure he did the photography. And I think with those two, like, we had some real steady hands, whereas maybe, without Drew by my side, maybe it would have been a bit more panicky without those guys. And then also everybody that came onto the show, we're really, really thankful. We're going to catch up with Siobhan in a little bit as well, bring her back on the show and maybe relive some of those competitive moments that she had on that show. But again, go to the BBL YouTube, check it out. Let us know what you think, the things that work, the things that don't work. And, we just want to be better.
And just before you move on, Jay, I just want to reiterate, because we did close with a lot of thank yous, and I knew that we would miss some people out. And obviously, I shouted out those guys on Twitter, BBL Fix, D's Reels, even Adam Bates for Cheshire. He's been able to provide content for us all year. Even your boy now, Gray, he's in our DMs from time to time trying to give us some advice. So there's so many people who have contributed to this show over the year. And it was really nice to hear some compliments from people just saying, man, I didn't, when you guys first launched this show, I did not think that it would be this. And so, we don't want to take all the credit. There's so many people behind the scenes, especially at 21 Media, who does all the dirty work to make you and I look good.
Oh, yeah. They definitely have to work hard to make us look good. That's for sure. But okay, let's focus on the episode. It's BBL and WBBL finals review time. We'll check in with Siobhan Pryor and Rheanne Bailey. We'll go scores and top performers, player of the week, a special Lasker Lookback. The champs, Newcastle Eagles, swing by to lead us out. But first, it's time for your social media spy. It's the Marriot Minute. Okay, intrigued me. Team of the year caused a bit of a stir. None more so than the deadly Plymouth duo Ashley Hamilton and Ricky McGill. McGill tweeted, "They don't want Plymouth players to be great." He then continued saying, "Somebody talk to the BBL." Hamilton followed up that with, "The disrespect is crazy, but it's nothing new. Should they have been included? We'll let you decide." Engage me. Cortez Edwards appreciation tweets were out in full effect. Riders assistant coach Pablo Vasquez said, "This guy Cortez is just everywhere." Show guest Kofi Josephs, "Tez might be the best rebounder in the league. I'm done saying best rebounding guard." But my favorite, as London Lions tweet during the game, Orlando Parker. That's it. That's the tweet. Later on, enabled the Newcastle Eagles fan to tweet, Cortez Edwards. That's it. That's the tweet. Touche. Amused me. Two things amused me this week. The big man, Kieran Achara, is joining Netball Scotland in an equality and diversity role, which is big time. Congrats, brother. But when he said he really didn't like dribbling the ball, I didn't quite imagine he would go this far. But obviously, only kidding, Mr. Achara doing big things, and we are proud of him. Friday night, we found out a lot about some popular names around the league when shooting our live show. MVP General Gino is a great host. The commentary GOAT, Dan Routledge, makes a fantastic pizzeria owner. Anthony Rowe needs his own show. Wait, his own show. Bring back the Rowe Show. Mo Walker is the tallest chef in the world. Siobhan Pryor will bite you if it means winning. And Selena Conroy is a fantastic food critic. And last of all, I'm a pretty formidable Guess Who player. What fun we all had. Thank you so much. Pete Simmons, 5 or 6 Wizard, Johnny Wong, the camera magician, and Peter Pizzeria for not just an amazing venue, but they were awesome hosts. And that wraps this week's Marriot Minute.
Nice one. Great minute, as always, my friend. And just touching on those end of season awards, a couple of things we need to clear up because I saw, obviously it was controversial, but just remember that the BBL coaches make the decision on those awards, not the BBL head office, not Selena. It's the coaches, so you might want to add those guys. And then also, I'd like to see when guys are thinking, guys who obviously think that they should be included, that means that somebody's name should be taken off. So I think we should say who shouldn't be on there. Let's keep it 100, right? But moving on to scores and ballers of the week. And who cares? We're champs. We won. I don't know the score. We won by 2 points. That's all that matters. We got the trophy. I got my beer, and I'm going to leave it at that.
That's right. And London Lions, of course, had their magical moment in the WBBL as Kennedy Leonard and their team went on to win that one. Okay, player of the week. As per usual, when it's finals week, we don't put it out on the socials because it's obvious. We have an MVP, and that is Cortez Edwards. The stats are off the chart: 22 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists, 4 steals for a 41 index. Just take that in for a moment, Drew, because obviously in the game, you know when somebody's having a great game, but you're not knowing the stat line. You can see it right there. What do you think?
I mean, I think that sums up Cortez Edwards' performance all year, right? Like the quiet assassin. Every time you look at the box score, you're like, dang, I didn't know he had 8 rebounds, 9 assists, and 22 points. And it was the same in the finals. I knew that he was balling out, obviously, but I didn't know he was balling like that. But we needed every single rebound, every assist, and every point. So thank you, Mr. Cortez Edwards.
Yeah, what a time to have a monster game like that. He had everything going. He was finding his shot, he was finding his rhythm. And I definitely agree with Kofi Josephs. He may well be the best rebounder in the league. Forget about mentioning any positions. Okay, let's go with a little finals talk before we go WBBL. I just want to get some kind of raw thoughts from you, Drew, overall of the game. So obviously I was there live, again, but I realize how lucky I am to be in that position. So it's not lost on me, guys, that, I'm sure all of you were itching to be there. It's fantastic. I saw it live. You were in it live. Let's start with you and your feelings on the game.
Yeah, obviously we got out to a very slow start. Orlando Parker started off really hot and aggressive, and which we expected. And I talked about this at halftime with Mike Tuck that in the first quarter we got caught up in trying to play London's game. That's how they play. They want to get you riled up. They want to talk. They want to get the officials pushing players away. But that's not how the Newcastle Eagles play basketball. So, after the first quarter, we were just like, let's just take a moment, relax, calm down. It wasn't anything tactical because, even them being up by 12 points, I think they had scored 24, 22 points. So it wasn't like they were absolutely killing. It was just that we hadn't settled in the game and we were kind of getting outside of our identity. And then, we made a run there, especially at the end of the second quarter. And the thing is that we just kept talking about is let's make sure we stay within striking distance. And I felt like throughout the game, every time we made a run and we had an opportunity to either tie or take the lead, we would always have an empty possession without even getting a shot attempt. Maybe it was a turnover or whatever. But we hung around. We stuck in there. And again, I talked about this earlier about in the Leicester series that being battle tested is where I thought it was going to help us out. In that first round with Sheffield, and I actually thank Mike Tuck after the game. He probably took offense to it. I told him, thank you for giving us this moment, because without his team, we wouldn't be here. But that really helped us because obviously that got us battle tested from round one. And then round two, we started off in a 20-point hole, was able to dig out of it and then beat the league champions. And so that forced us to never panic and never get rattled and never feel like we were out of the game. And obviously it came down to the last couple of minutes. And then, as Vince said, I heard him say on his post game that it just became like a make or miss kind of game. We made some shots, we made some plays, they didn't. And, that's how the cookie crumbles. I think if they had a chance to reflect on it, they probably feel like they let us out of jail and could have been up by 20 or more points. And, Dirk Williams really hurt them being in foul trouble and never got a chance to really settle his feet in the game. But that's finals. Other guys got to step up. And for us, it was Cortez Edwards.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was an amazing game. Like you said, it was quite a slow burner to start off with, but I kind of enjoyed that because you could see the tactics. So if you look at Lions, the two big things that I saw early on is they wanted to get the ball to Parker, and they were really trying to put Gordon under pressure. So I really believe that they were feeling that him in foul trouble would be one of those keys. And then they were just really obviously doubling super hard on Fletch, so they were just coming for him after every pick and roll. But that's tough to do for 40 minutes, so that's all great to try and keep Fletch quiet for 1 quarter or a quarter and a half, but that's never going to happen for four quarters. And you can see that slowly their hold started to dissipate and you guys started to make those runs. And I think Cortez, like where he started to get going, was just the right time. Credit to Maxwell as well. In the fourth quarter, he really kind of came alive, and I think he was a big component of getting you over the line. Obviously, I think that Mac, being the perfectionist he is, would probably prefer you guys to hit those free throws, so Maxwell and Fletch. But that all added to the drama for us actually watching the game. I think if you look at London, what they'll be disappointed with. There was a lot of people saying that they felt there was some disrespect, saying that losing Justin Robinson had them losing an edge, but that was absolutely clear by having Liggins with the ball in his hand for 40 minutes did not work.
Yeah.
You know, and as he started to get tired, those amazing passes that he's been making one hand all year as he, you know, ground down, and it was their own fault because that's how they wanted the game to be. They wanted it to be tough, physical. He was clapping, he was in people's faces, his energy was high, but it's a very different thing having the ball in your hand for 40 minutes than say 20 or 22. So I think Justin Robinson missing was a big thing. And then obviously, sadly, in the big game there, Dirk Williams, foul trouble was predominantly his problem. But also as well, I think for the first time, and it was in the final, I saw him buying into the Lions way, you know, and he started getting hyped and in people's faces and being aggressive. And I have not seen him be like that all year. You know, I've seen him have the energy and I've seen him be hyped, but on his own and, you know, in a humble way. And in this game, they came out and they clearly were trying to play bully ball. It just kind of didn't work. And I think when they will reflect back on their end of season, maybe that big, heavy rotation didn't work, you know, and those random substitutions that you saw and the random cameos and things like that, you know, it just didn't work for them in the end. But look, delighted for you guys, and you needed that one to separate yourselves as the team that had the best season, right? Everyone had one trophy
Didn't I
each.
say that last episode? Whoever came out with 2 is the best, right?
That's it. You don't need. There's nothing else needs to be said. Nothing else needs to be proved. But man, a magical moment, and I remember. You know, I brought my friend Alex up with me, and I was chatting to Alex about the culture. You know, so. You've lost Fab, right? The coach is still there, and actually when you look at that team, there's only 3 of you left, so it's not like there were 7 guys bringing people in. So that's a measure of how strong the culture is there. That's credit, I think, from Paul Blake all the way down, and you have to appreciate those people that have moved on, like Fab. And you've always said it, you've had great respect from the players of the past. They have set the tone.
Absolutely.
And you guys are still doing it. So, hey, you're there to be shot at. And I think that's a good chat for now. And that will lead us nicely into the WBBL review as we introduce, once again, our favorites, Siobhan Pryor and Rheanne Bailey, back into the room. Siobhan, Rheanne, we meet again. How you doing?
Good, thank you. Really good. Yeah.
That's good.
Same.
Good to see you, ladies. I'm liking this little cameo. I'm liking this
it's
regularity.
It's familiar, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's becoming familiar. Siobhan's a little bit quiet. She's had a big weekend.
Yeah.
I felt like I wore her down on Friday with the pizza making. And
Too many autograph signings.
Well, yeah, that's what I've heard too. The pizza making deals were on the table from Saturday morning, I heard. So, you know, big things are happening. But we're here to talk about the WBBL final. I just want to get your thoughts on the game itself. Whether you thought it played out the way that you thought it would. You know, I really enjoyed the game. I feel like from my perspective, I think that London just kind of strangled it in the end, like just slowly got their hands around the game. And you know, it was probably closer than the score reflected at the end of the game. I felt Newcastle gave it a really, really good go. But what was your guys' thoughts? So, like, Rheanne, what did you think?
I thought it was a really good game. You know, Newcastle, they were down by 8 at the half, which was like, it was almost an exciting position to be in, like compared to what they did against Sevenoaks when they were down. They went down about 12, didn't they, in the third quarter? So in like my head, it was like down 8. That's so doable. They're just going to come right back and take it. Mm-hmm. But like Nottingham, London, they did what they did against Nottingham. Really, they just kind of held on to it and then slowly got more and more control. Mm-hmm. And then Shanice. What a spark. Yeah, it was a great game, really exciting.
Her energy was incredible, man. Like, really was. Like, being there live and being able to see that game was really good. Siobhan, like, what were you kind of thinking as you were watching that game?
Yeah, same. Like, I feel like Shanice was just, so because again, like on Twitter and stuff, people were saying about, you know, like Kennedy got the triple double and everything, which was amazing. And that she should have got like MVP or co-MVP or whatever. And I feel like she definitely had an MVP like performance. The thing with like Shanice though was it was just like the stuff that wasn't on the stat sheet. Like Rhea said, she was like all over the place, every single play though. So like every offense, every defense, she had like something. She did something to affect it in some way. She like didn't rest on any play. She was amazing. She had such a good game. And I think it was really nice because I feel like she went to Barking Abbey as a kid, and like then she went to LSU, so she went to like an amazing program, and then she's come back like to where it began. I just thought it was like a really nice story, back to Mark like as her coach, and they're not Barking Abbey now, they're London Lions, but it's still like what the same core, you know. So I just thought that was a really nice story. But as far as the game went, I thought that was going to happen, if I'm honest. I really wanted Newcastle to win it because I think like that story would have been amazing. Same. But I just felt like London had a bit too much. And I think that's all it was in the end. I think they did come back from that like 8-point down. And when it was like 51-51, I was thinking they might actually do it. And then I think they just like, not necessarily ran out of steam physically, but like they just started to have a few mental lapses where you could tell they were like fatigued and they weren't doing what they were supposed to do in like defensive coverage and it's just the same as like Sevenoaks really. If you sort of switch off for a second, London are really going to hurt you, but the way London can hurt you is like scoring in bunches quickly, and that absolutely just like kills you, I think, especially when you've had like 2 real tough games. Like I think like that can kind of kill your momentum a little bit. So good game. I think pretty good game.
Yeah, I think, you know, when I watched the Newcastle Sevenoaks game, I was saying like Sevenoaks didn't play like terrible. They didn't play bad. They just, you know, sometimes when a team is so consistent, they forget that was a big play. Like, I know you expect it from your team, but it was a big play, and the celebration of that big play gives you more energy for the next play.
Yeah.
Whereas they just sometimes, I think they were so clinical, almost to their detriment, where Newcastle, they would make an average play and you would think, did you score 10 points off that layup? But they were so on a high from it that it propelled them above Sevenoaks. And I think where London Lions had, they are really clinical, but they're also really hype and fun, and they encourage each other. So then for Newcastle, it was, you know, they couldn't ride off that adrenaline the whole game because London have that same hype and but they are more consistent across the whole game as well. So it would have been a really tough one for them to win, I think.
That is true.
I felt really bad for Rodriguez, like, because she you could just tell towards the end of the game, like, you know, they really came alive on the boards and they were just really active, and I was just like, it's so harsh. You know, she's absolutely played her heart out. And I think kind of going back, Siobhan, when you're talking about the MVP, there's 2 sides to things that I look at. So I will always favor the triple double. So I'll always favor the triple double over the big night. But one thing that I will say is I thought it was a really subdued performance by Kennedy. I felt, you know, she just kind of I kept saying, probably like towards the end of the second and going into the third, I was like, I think she's going to take a hold of the game now. But she just really just kept control of the game, didn't really get too high, didn't really get too low. And like you said, I think in the end, just the energy and the defense and the scoring and everything else like that probably took that MVP away from her, I think.
Yeah, I think it was like the energy, really, because she led the energy of London, but Shanice did. I think the other thing that's interesting, though, is like Kennedy, and we kind of saw it in the men's a bit with Fletcher. It was sort of like he knew that he was having a tough night. Well, not a tough night, but that they were throwing like 2 defenders at him all the time. And so his MVP like click in his head was like, well, if this is happening to me, then I'm going to make sure that I facilitate everybody else in the best way possible so that they can like help us to win. And I think maybe like Kennedy sort of did the same thing. Like her stat line was still amazing, but you know, maybe she just knew like Shanice was having a great game and she's going to continue to like feed that. And that's sort of like the unselfish thing that she did.
That mentality right there is amazing. And I think you can probably speak on it better than me with Fletch, but I've seen him do it so many times, is that if somebody else is going to win the game, he lets somebody else win the game. He does not try and like come in there. And then on the other hand, if he needs to take hold of a game, and I feel like Kennedy's a bit like that. It was almost a shock actually when I was asking about the stat line around about the middle of the third, and I was like, wow, like really? Because I didn't see her get that many boards, you know, so I was like, I'm not sure if she's close to a triple double, definitely a double double. And then I was like, wow, so impressive.
Well, it goes to in that moment, like you talked about, Siobhan, that you go to make the plays that help you win, as opposed to making the plays to try to win the MVP. And that's what Leonard did, and that's what Fletcher did. And I also like how you mentioned the fact of that eye test. You know, this game has evolved to analytics, and usually in the past when they pick the MVP award, it's always directly at the index, and we know that it's more to it than just that. It's those impact plays that you don't see on the stat sheet that plays just a bigger role than any of those other stats.
Yeah, like there was so many times where, say it was like, I don't know, Newcastle had gained a little momentum offensively in the half court, and there was like 12 seconds left or something, and then she gets like a tip, she doesn't get a steal, but it goes out of bounds and just breaks the momentum up, and now they've only got 10 seconds to score, like little things like that. Or she, you know, she'll come in like Rodriguez or rebound, she'll come in and like put pressure on it, she won't get the rebound, but Rodriguez fumbles it out of bounds, or, you know, like things like that, I think.
Yeah, things that just aren't seen out there, and that's sure, certainly impressive for sure.
Yeah, I wanted to ask ladies about, I'm pretty sure you saw over social media, the Newcastle Eagles surprise Alison Gorel with the GOAT t-shirts, and just where do you think she stands in that conversation in the WBBL?
I think she's a great player. I think she's a really good player. I think she has the ability to score anywhere on the floor. Greatest of all time. She's up there, but I wouldn't put her as the greatest of all time in the WBBL.
Who is
like,
for you?
Who would I say is the greatest of all time? It's tough. I'd have to have a top. I'd have to have like a top 5.
She forested us.
Come on.
Yeah, Dave Forrester.
Or a top 20.
Let me get a first. So
you don't upset anyone.
Do you know what I think it is as well? I would say like it's tough, you know, because so for example, Kat Carr, like this season she's been incredible, but I think like it's weird, like every season she gives something different. Like when she first came into the league, she was definitely not the same player. Like I'd say she was more of a scorer. That sounds weird saying she's not a scorer now, but like she gives so much more now than she did when she first came into the league. Yeah. But then, yeah, I don't know. Oh, it's hard. And then like I would say Georgia Jones, she's been consistent across every single season that she's played in. Kennedy Leonard came out with a debut season that was incredible. It's hard, you know. I don't know.
I don't expect you to answer that still being a current player anyway. Who does that? But Siobhan, what about you?
Yes, Siobhan can.
Yeah, I always do. No, I don't know. No, it is hard. I think what's really interesting, actually, what Rhea just said is like, because I think the game's evolved in a way, a little bit, in that it's become like more recognized for guards to, you know, for players, not just to be like great scorers, but to affect the game in loads of different ways. So like triple doubles and and you're right, like whereas before, like Kat, she was like a prolific scorer, but now she does everything and she's like a really great passer. She was a great passer before, but it just shows up, I guess, on the stats more. And like, but I don't know, I think it is hard. Like for me, I think like if you're an MVP, your team wins. I'm one of them.
Thank you.
So I feel
Thank you.
like
Thank you. That's
Touche.
that's the prerequisite of the BBL show. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Can you say that one more time for the listeners so it's etched in? We don't have to go over it again next season. What did you
So
say?
you're telling me you can't be 8th place and be MVP? Is that what you're saying?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's for the listeners out there. So stop giving us these
Okay.
names from people that finished 10th and no.
Winning
I
gets you in
think
the
they
front
could
door.
be like a really great player, like an amazing player in the league and one of the most skillful in the league, one of the most dominant in the league. But if your team's not winning, it doesn't really matter. So that's not very valuable, is it? Like it's valuable for yourself, but who else is it valuable for?
Yeah.
So yeah, so I think like in that way, I feel like Ashley Harris, who was a post player that we had 3 seasons ago, she left now to have a beautiful little baby girl. She's gorgeous. She's playing in Sweden next year actually, but she was just like totally dominant all the time, like offensively, defensively.
In that cup final.
Really? Oh yeah, in the One Cup final, that was Rheanne decided she wanted to go off and beat everyone. And Dom played really well. Dom had a really good game, didn't she?
Yeah, she did actually, yeah.
Yeah, so I think she was like super dominant and we won a lot because of it. So I'd say like she was definitely up there for me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'd say?
I think we got
a lot of times. Sorry,
No, go on.
Like a lot of like when not saying this is not shots fired at Alison Goral, but like defensively, how do you help your team as well? That's a big thing for me. Mm-hmm. Like, don't score 50 points on offense and be coasting on defense. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, how do you help your team defensively? How do you help your team off the stat sheet? And don't get me wrong, Alison Goral makes hustle plays and stuff like that. But that's another big thing that I would take into consideration. Like, yeah, you're doing all of, so like usually when I say an MVP, it might look like the underdog, but I can see, because as a you know, a player, I can see all the things that they did to help their team that wouldn't be on the stat sheet.
Definitely.
Because I think those give the other players energy to do what they're doing. Do you know what I mean? So
I like that. But what it does do is that gives us plenty of content to come back and continue this conversation, because I feel like we need to do this. I feel like we need to get a graphic up. I feel like this is what we need to do, because if we're going to do it for the BBL, we need to do it for the WBBL.
Top 5 WBBL.
So we need to make sure that's the right thing.
Team. We need these ladies to get the smoke like we've been getting the smoke, right?
They might not understand, you know, yet, but we are running during the summertime, so we've got plenty of time to focus on these ladies and drill a little bit deeper and pull the names out, so we're fine. But look, we've run out a little bit of time. We got to get the champs in the building and see what they're saying to us. But we'll probably say it 100 times in the pod this time. We are continuing in the summer. We are continuing our commitment to Choose to Challenge as well. So we will be with Siobhan and Rheanne during the summer, maybe even in person if this pandemic is starting to ease up. That would be really, really great. Although I've realized now in person just how competitive Siobhan really is. And it's slightly scary. And I will say, I think that she probably got 1.5 points off Selena just through fear. So we'll leave it there. But ladies, thanks for jumping on. I know it was really brief, but we will see you again soon.
Yeah, brilliant.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, ladies. Appreciate it. See ya.
Bye.
Good night. Here we go. So, fellas, what a great way to finish the season for the BBL show, other than to bring the champs onto the show. I'm just a little Plymouth boy right here, feeling real intimidated with all these Eagles guys. So I'm going to get out of the way. Drew, this is your segment. Rock and roll, guys. Congrats.
What's up,
Thank
chaps?
you.
What's
Thank
good?
you.
What's good?
What's up,
Hey,
champ?
What's up? What's up?
Hey, what's up, champ?
Yeah.
What's up? What's up? Firstly, we'll start with the MVP. I saw the tweet about. I really like that. I almost shed a tear about Fletch pretty much gave you the baton to do what you do. I mean, how does it feel to get a gold ball, man?
Hey, it feels great, man. I had a little birdie named Jordan Williams. He was like, "You played in too many finals not to have a MVP." So, that was a little motivation. And he told me I need to make my layup. So, shout out to him.
What was it? What's the bus driver called? Your guy.
Tony.
Yeah.
Man, he was sat next to me the whole game. Like, it was the best experience watching the game. He was like, he forgot all etiquette when you're on the free throw line, like, screaming out, "Come on, Fletch!" But
Hey,
he said to me that you already told him exactly what you were going to do, Tez. Can you confirm that? You told the bus driver before the game, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah, I told him, man.
All right. Yeah, just let me know.
I'm gonna get to it. I'm gonna lead us to a win. Tony believes in me. Appreciate you, Tony. You gave me that confidence.
When you called him over, he said he didn't want to go over there just in case he was on Crime Watch or something like that. He didn't want to be on the main screen.
Oh man,
Fletch, let's move on to you. Let's reflect a little bit on the game. Firstly, I love the tweet, by the way, calling people out. If you haven't seen it, just go to the timeline and you'll see it. And I just wish you would have edited that person. It would have made it a little bit better. But anyways,
that's why Twitter need an edit. Twitter need an edit button. I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll do it. Yeah.
So let's just reflect a little bit on the game. Just take us through the game and talk to our listeners about how Newcastle Eagles came out as champs.
I think the game was probably, as far as the scoring wise, I don't think people kind of expected that. But the chippiness, the back and forth, the competitiveness, and everything like that, I think that's something that you expect in a playoff final. B, you expect, especially this year, Newcastle and London, Newcastle and Leicester, London and Leicester, teams like that. So I think we knew, especially with Justin not being there, that it kind of made it more of an even playing field as far as their depth, and with him being out, it changes the way that they play. So it was really intense on the competitive side, and I think defense was one of our main focus to get that win, because neither teams were making shots like that, to be honest. So we all had to just knuckle up and dig our heels in the ground and play some D, and I think that's where it was going.
Yeah, and that's normally how, obviously we know that's how finals go. I can't remember being in a final where a team has scored over 100 points. They're always ugly. They're always scrappy. Mm-hmm. And, it basically comes to the team that knuckles down and buckles up. Yep. But Justin, moving over to you, obviously you struggled with foul trouble along with Dirk Williams, but just talk a little bit about how you were still able to make an impact on that game whilst literally sitting on the bench for half of the game.
Yeah, it was tough. I, even given the opportunities that I had, I didn't convert those on offense before I got into foul trouble. So, just got to take responsibility for that, honestly. Everybody has a bad game on offense every now and then, but, the defensive end also with the fouls, it kept me out of my rhythm just as far as being with the team, as far as making the right decisions. Because I was also playing a different rotation than I usually do. So knowing when guys are doing the right things in certain times, and I kind of just didn't flow with that on our offense. But on defense is just something that I can always control. Doesn't matter what time of the game it is. Like I can, obviously, if I wasn't out there for as long as some of the other guys are, like Fletch and Tez and D, they were playing longer spurts than I was. So I could just help and use my energy, cover up those little times where they might be tired or something like that, and trying to get our possession back, knowing that I might have not converted possession that I normally would have or something like that, or just getting things that would help our team, get back into the right spot.
And speaking of defense, obviously, firstly, congratulations to Cortez Edwards for making the defensive team of the year. But do you feel like you were snubbed on that defensive team?
Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, I feel like being on that board, just as being in the conversation
back, bro. Say it
don't hold back.
This is the BBL show, man. You're a former guest too. We let you have the vocals.
We keep it 100 on here.
Say it how it is.
Nah, for real though. Like being on the MVP conversation and Defensive Player of the Year conversation pretty much the whole year. I go out with an unfortunate ankle injury, and I feel like my impact was missed with this team. And like just hearing, I'm going to physio, C&D early in the morning. He like, man, you good, man? Come on, let's go. You good? Get back on the court. You ready? He's like, Vicky, it's okay. He's good. Like, you don't need to tape the ankle. You don't need to massage it. He's good. Like, let's go. I'm like, yeah, man. Like, I really wanted to be out there. And it was like, after that, the league was just like, I mean, he's gone. Like, I didn't hear nothing else. Like, it was just like my impact was just done for because I had an injury. But when other guys had their injuries, their teams continued to hit their stride. They didn't really feel that impact like when I was out. And I was just like, why was mine the only one that was punished for it? It seemed like in those kind of awards and season just accolades and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like you were talking to me in the semifinal, like let these boys know who you are. Like they try to count you out, and they really did. And just staying persistent, man. And of course, it ended up being the thing that I was trying to get my bragging rights about the whole time. It took me out on offense, but you know what? Like you had to go out there and play 24 minutes of defense, and I feel like I pretty much did that, even with my fouls.
Yeah. I think it's interesting what you say, because there was definitely that your injury and Hamilton's came around the same time. And actually, like if you look at that timeline, you saw McGill actually like it almost became his team in a way. Like that's how that transition happened. Whereas for you guys, obviously there was that kind of natural dip. You have a shorter rotation. So yeah, I thought it was interesting just because I think you've got to judge it off of the fact that you can guard multiple positions as well. So I feel like that's got to be a massive advantage. But hey, look.
I feel like there wasn't a matchup that I didn't take advantage of.
But you got the big trophy now, so
hey, facts.
That all
and speaking of that, I don't want to speak for that man down there in the bottom left corner. But even when I was out, he stepped up big time and showed how valuable of a player that he was for our team.
Well, speaking of him, that guy that you're talking about is I think it's 27 now, but
yeah, Mr. 27.
Mr. 27. Let's talk about the first quarter, Defoe. Just take us through a little bit, because there's been fans asking about the little scuffle. What exactly happened where yourself and Fletch got hemmed up and I had to run off the bench and come unravel you guys?
Hey,
you didn't even move.
Them London boys kind of salty. That's why. That's why he's trying to run up. He's trying to run up on my teammates. I ain't gonna let that happen.
So basically, Darius is doing Darius things. Yeah, basically.
Hey, I'm being a good teammate. That's what I'm doing.
No lies there.
I like the sound of it, but hey, man, it's been a great year. Like I said in the locker room, I wish we had an opportunity to do this more in person, in the clubs, in the bars. You know what I mean? But we got to do it over a screen. But let's transition over to the Lasker Lookback, in which, in this episode of the Lasker Lookback, this is actually called the Defoe Lookback Part 2, actually. So I'm gonna hand it off to you, Mr. Is it 27?
Mr. 27.
27.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Let me put my drink down.
Uh-oh.
First of all, played in the trophy final. We won.
Mm-hmm.
No heart. No, we didn't get one heart. then there was the trophy final. I see everybody in the London team with a hat. Then there was the playoff final. Still no hat. I want to know what's going on. I feel disrespectful. I feel disrespected. No, that's not how we meant to happen. If one team is getting hot, we all should be getting hot.
Well, what else you got on your chest though? I mean,
No.
that can't be it.
That ain't it.
Okay.
We got a little bit of time, it's fine.
We got the GB team of the year. How comes I ain't on there?
Mr. 27.
What, am I not good enough? I don't get that one. I see certain people on there shouldn't be on there. I'm just gonna keep it real. Okay, defensive player of the year. I wasn't on there. I don't need no help to guide no one. They said I could play defense. Well, I proved them wrong. Yet again, I'm still not on the list. There's people on there that shouldn't be on there. Now, how is Newcastle going to get some respect? How are we going to get some respect? That's what I want to know. What else do we have to prove? Everyone's saying Newcastle ain't going to win the playoff. They ain't going to get far. They lost such and such games in the league. So what happened on Sunday? I didn't hear no one saying nothing else. When are we going to get our respect?
Can I ask you a question about this? And this could go out to you and it could go to Fletch, and Drew could jump in here as well. So we talk about, if you talk about Newcastle, you talk about the culture, right? So I brought somebody to the game that hasn't really seen a lot of basketball recently, but understands the history of Newcastle. But actually, when we were explaining it, it's really just you three guys left. And obviously Mac is coming from, it has that history. Like, how do you guys manage to pass that culture on to such a big group? Because usually that will happen if you're adding two pieces. But in this case, you're adding, maybe six pieces with you three leaders. What makes that culture so special?
We just good teammates. That's why. We make everyone feel welcome.
Yeah, I think the unique thing is that us three are totally different. So Fletch does it vocally. We constantly hear his voice, as we've heard from training camp all through the year. And when things need to be said, Fletch is going to say it. Defoe does his through humor. He's a funny guy. He keeps the camp loose, and he'll say what needs to be said, but he'll do it in a way where we're probably going to laugh a little bit afterwards. And then myself, I don't really say much. I do things mostly by example, but if it needs to be said, if it's that time and it's that gap, then I'll say it. And so I think that's the unique thing about us three, that we're completely different. We have three completely different leadership styles, but at the same time, we give the room to empower the new guys that come in. So never once have we told Justin or told Cortez, no, you can't be yourself. You don't have a voice. We've empowered them to be themselves. But if the ship needs to get back on the track, we'll put it back on the track, but we'll allow the young guys to kind of lead us in the way. And I think that's how Newcastle has kind of always been. And I just think that's what kind of separates us from the other teams.
Yeah. I think it's the type of guys that you get too, that every guy that we get is a good personality, or a person that we saw ourselves when we first came into the league, as far as that chip on the shoulder. They come from a situation where they wasn't happy, or something happened with the team and they didn't get a good playing role, but they come here and you can just see that chip on their shoulder. So instantly we gravitate to them, because we've been in that position too. Drew's been in that position, D's been in that position, I've been in that position as well. So like you said, we got same exact thing. The whole common goal is winning. regardless. No matter how we dish it out, no matter how we set it by example with humor, it's all will be the same exact goal. And everybody that comes to play basketball, they want to win. So when they see the people that have been here for a while constantly, that they can approach us and say whatever they want to say, get it off their chest, and we accept it, and it equals winning, of course, it makes it a lot easier. So that's kind of, and we learned that from Fab as well. So we can't not acknowledge that. So
yeah, facts.
Yeah, I think like I would almost say that's even the strength and measure of Fab is that actually that culture he's left that in a good place, and I think that takes somebody to another level. So you can talk about a great coach, and then you're talking about somebody that actually has left it in a position where it can continue, and that's no slight on Coach Mack. You know, that's 3 trophies now in 2 seasons.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, that is so impressive because if I compared it to football. You know, Sir Alex Ferguson leaves Manchester United and left a hole for, you know, years and years and years. That is not easy. And I must admit, it would not be a position that I would want to desire. Knowing somebody like Fab, I think that would intimidate me. So that's a credit to Coach Mack. And what I'd like to, obviously we don't have, you know, some big pieces here like Maxwell, Pfluger, Sayers. You know, I actually got an opportunity to coach Lewis, and just seeing how he's grown, especially like with your group, and even through the year now, like I've seen a difference from the last final to this final. Just tell me, you know, specifically about those 3 guys, like what you've enjoyed about them this year and what they've brought to the table. Don't all speak at once.
Cortez, we'll go to you.
Go on, Tez.
So all right. So Evan has been like, he started the season off like a torch, like the Human Torch. He was just lighting everybody up. Then I felt like when people saw his flaws, you know, it took him some time to adjust. But like throughout the season, big moments like Sheffield in the playoff, he stepped up, and he had a different like anger about him. You know, he really like the beast showed. He showed that dog in him that we've been waiting on all year. And Lewis like found his footing with us. We told him he could be more than just, you know, just a shooter. Because at first he was just standing in the corner, but he started crashing boards, curling off screens, getting to the basket. He had a dunk, you know, against Leicester, you know. So Rex battled through injuries, but we needed him to come on the court, you know, do some defense. He stepped up every time we needed him to.
And I think,
yeah, I mean, my bad. Go ahead.
No, go on. Go ahead. Jump in. Let's go.
From my standpoint, with Egbert, I mean, I agree with Tez. Started off really well, and it's typical. You know, it's typical with these seasons that, especially the top teams, are going to try to figure you out. They're going to try to stop what you do well. You know, they've been doing that for years. You know, and he had to adjust. It might take longer than it took me or took Justin or Cortez or anybody on this panel. But at the end of the day, the time that he did adjust, he adjusted at the right exact time. Because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be sitting here right now, to be honest, against Sheffield, if I'm being real. So that's what he did. I don't care if it was for one game. It was the most important game of our season, and he did it. And with Rex as well, Rex is young. We got to understand that Rex, this is his first year playing professional. So it's going to be hit and misses, hot and cold, ups and downs regardless. So we can't take that personal offense to our team, you know? And I think with the adversity, him coming overseas for the first time and go straight into lockdown, that's tough. That's tough mentally, being away from home when he's never been away from home like that. So I credit him from just fighting through all that adversity that he had, and then had to come and play, because he was starting at first, which is a lot of pressure. And then he went on the GB team as well, which is another level of pressure. So nobody knows what he mentally was going on. We really don't know. But if I'm outside looking in, it ain't the easiest thing. And I think he adjusted well with that. And Louis, and sometimes we forget with Louis that he just turned 29. He's a professional. He's been here for a while, so he knows what he's doing. You know, just because people might think him as a corner shooter or forget about something like that, and he's quiet, sometimes you forget that he's a constant, true professional in this league, and everybody respects him. So I think seeing Louis when he was at Leeds, when he was at Cheshire, when he was at Plymouth with you, that the growth that he took this year is like, oh, okay, well, what I've been doing, what I've been working on for all these years actually is showing, it actually is going into trophies, and I'm kind of accepting. I can't speak for the other teams that he was a part of, but I can speak for this group 100% that he was 100% accepted. No matter what he did, mistakes, good things, whatever, we accepted it. And you can see, like you say, you saw the growth from the beginning to the end. And now he's coming off the screens, getting dunks, getting and ones from his feet, holding a 3-ball late in the corner, holding his hand down, showing a 3. That type of emotion that you really didn't see out of Louis in the earlier years. So that's coming out of his shell. And so with those threes that were pivotal not just off of stats or anything like that, but just pivotal just seeing their growth. So to make a long story less long, sorry.
Darius, you got anything to add? JG?
Yeah, I mean, nothing really like as far as player breakdown like that Fletch did. Like that was Fletch and Tez accurately described everybody. I think what even place they give them even more credit is just like the opportunities, like learning like the flow of the game. Like he said, like all of these guys are even younger than I am, other than Louis. But we've all come from roles where we were probably like the number 1 guy, or, you know, at best or at worst, the number 2 guy on our team. And we come in with guys that have so much talent and so much that they can give to the team at any given point in time. It's like, how do I find my place? And how do I know when to be, you know, my most aggressive self? So, I mean, like that shows so much, even with Tez, you know, like Tez showed that in the final. And I was talking to him the other day, like we didn't always end up battling for rebounds. I was like, in that game, even though I wasn't out there, I feel like you got every single rebound that even I would have even had the chance to get. Like, you know what I mean? Like he just took over that extra step when I was having a subpar performance and his phone just died. But you know, just those kind of credit to Louis and Evan. Like Louis come in and he's really like a momentum shifter, just straight off the back. Like he hits 1 3 and we're like, oh my gosh, we got a new life as a team. And same with Evan and same with Rex. Like it's just those boosts that they have in the opportunities that they're given, no matter how slim they may be in comparison to other roles that they have had along their careers. So I mean, I've had to make those type of adjustments on other teams, but this was by far the easiest transition that I've had as far as finding my game within a team. I know I didn't have to deal with nearly as much that they had to as far as fitting in and finding their game within this team, but they all definitely have a lot to show, and they definitely showed a lot in big key moments for us.
Yeah. And I think like it says a lot about having perseverance, you know, because it's very difficult coming into a group of already established players and you're trying to find your role and make sure that you fit. And sometimes you really have to sort of dig in and hold in there. And it happens for some people really, really quickly. Sometimes you put them in a team and it's quick. And then sometimes, you know, it takes a while. But this was a really special group, you know, because you weren't supposed to do this. You know, the script was set for London spending the big bucks. You know, Plymouth was spending some big money right there. You know, lots of people forgot about the culture of the Eagles. Even the riders, to a certain degree, people were just, you know, not really paying attention to that at the start of the year. And then here you are, you guys, you know, holding 2 trophies. And I think to end with, what we need to do is make sure that the right people reach out to Darius, yeah, and make sure that we, you know, maybe we right the wrongs. This is Mr. 27, and the other thing I do want to understand is you know, where's Fletch t-shirt, guys? You know, Allison got a t-shirt.
Sorry, Fletch.
I mean, she waited.
My bad,
bro.
You know, like
She surpassed.
All right.
Hey, we still love you, bro.
Well, by the way, he does have his face on several billboards in the Newcastle area.
The whole city, though.
You know what I mean?
Was that like a team-directed thing, or was that, you know?
I mean, I don't know. I saw one as I was leaving. I saw one on the airplane they was covering up the EasyJet sign.
Oh, yeah?
That's just a participation trophy right there. I'll just take that.
But as we finish, I'm going to transition to you as you close us, because this is 37 episodes, and you know, we've come far and we've talked about a lot of different topics on here. And I want to finish with this because you're a neutral. Who is the best team of the 2020-21 season?
Well, we say it all the time, winning gets you into the front door. There's absolutely no doubts about that. And
Okay.
we've said on the show right here, whoever won that final was going to get themselves 2.
Right.
So who's holding 2? Newcastle Eagles.
Yay!
Okay, then.
So I can't speak for the league, Darius, but hopefully that goes a long way for us rectifying some mistakes here on the show. But guys, listen, thanks so much. Like for people listening, Cortez's phone died, so he can on the court, but he's absolutely useless off the court. You know, figure out what he's doing there. But that's a wrap for the 2020-21 BBL season. We finish with a segment with the champs, the champs. You have to say it twice. It's not the end for us. We are hitting the road for some summertime fun where we are. So wherever you are, wherever I am, you will be. Drew, lead us out. And guys, if you don't mind, when he finishes with that trademark, the show, could we all just join in to finish the 2020-21 season in style?
Yeah, man, this has been fun, man. This has been a fun ride. It's been a lot of work, a lot of stuff we do behind the scenes that people don't see, but it's easy because when you enjoy it, it's easy. And also, quick mention, Shore, I don't know, he would have loved this, by the way. This is the type of stuff, but he was on here for 2 minutes. I don't know what happened.
He was
with a tank top on.
Maybe it was a little bit too hot for him. I saw him.
He was just in here.
Oh,
he said he was going to charge his phone.
Oh, okay. Well, tell him it's too late anyway. But
yeah, it's over with.
But we close episode 37 of the BBL show. We move forward to the summer where we'll be following you throughout the summer. You'll be going to different events, and obviously I'll be going to Texas and going to America, and they'll be following me. So we'll be on the road. We'll be following players.
Barbecue.
Hey, I know Defoe will be. We'll be looking out.
Don't forget the ribs
in Houston.
Barbecue. Oh, yeah, for sure. He'd be looking at them ribs, but
second best barbecue in America.
We'll be catching up with players as well because one thing is that usually when the season ends, the BBL dies and everyone kind of gets ghost. But we're gonna keep this thing going. We're gonna come to your hometown, see what you get up to when you go back home. So look out for that, guys.
Foes off-season workouts, yeah.
Oh yeah. He showed me a picture of what he's gonna look like next year, and so I'm looking forward to it.
Oh yeah.
That top lip shaking.
But anyways, guys, listeners, we appreciate all you guys' support this year, and we'll be back here next week, same time on the show. With the champs. Peace. Get out of here. Bye.
It's a brand new era of British basketball here on Sky.
It's tantamount to all of us in the BBL to drive the BBL further.
People are going to be watching. Let's put on a show.
Locked into Gordon. Oh! What a jump!
Where the camera's at?
We live on Sky, baby.
We live, baby. Y'all hear?
I think I got to copyright my Sky Sports, baby. Sky Sports, baby. Mike Tuck. Hey, NBA, going to work.
Players are getting mic'd up. They're always stepping up big time.
Let's go! Let's go, brothers. Let's go. Oh, that is beautiful from Gino Crandall.
Damn, I'm good. He's a magician.
See who's in the game. See who's in the game.
Coach McLeod, Kavati Branamaning, Drew Lasker, Gino Crandall, Rob Paternostra, Paul James, Ashley Hamilton.
I loved being in the BBL. Loved all those cities I lived in.
Fletcher again from behind the arc. Ramon Fletcher!
Hey fans, it's been tough to have you night. Oh, sorry about that. Thank you. Let me do that again.
My God, get out of here.
Dunk time. Hey!
You came in from that side, and you jumped out into the guy. He wasn't there.
What do you mean? It was contact.
Thank you guys.
Boy, that's a tough one. Thank you.
Hey, I got news for you. I'm mic'd up. Okay. I'm gonna watch the replay right now, Sky. I didn't reach. Hey! Hey, man. You heavy, boy.
16 points is nothing to these guys. Keep this energy, keep the composure. Unbelievable. This is women's basketball. Let's go!
Alley-oop! Oh! Jammed in by Hensley!
There's only one word. You know what that word is. It's disgusting. It was disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Everything he does is disgusting.
Tino diving on the floor. Well, I think he's forgotten the rules.
Breon, congratulations on a terrific individual performance and a fine team performance.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that.
Crandall to Johnson to win it! Makes it! Corey Johnson for three!
Good pass.
We're motivated, we're confident, and we're just trying to chase Leicester right now.
Thanks.
And possession arrow against. And he bang! Oh my goodness!
I'm Drew Lasker.
12 points behind, 3 games in hand, still have Leicester to play. Is the title race still open, Coach?
Well, I don't think I've heard anybody singing. Nope, nobody's singing yet.
Look, it's Philip. Hey!
I gotta go with London just because I can't see a scenario with them losing because they can't lose today.
What about you, Kieran?
It's definitely Glasgow Rocks. No.
Ricky McGill running. Ricky McGill for three. Ricky McGill on the buzzer. Liggins for three. He knocks it down. Oh my goodness, what a big shot.
Thank you for all of us.
This is BBL basketball.